There are times when I Am Setsuna's mimicry is too obvious for its own good, when you immediately recognize that it's a deliberate effort to trigger nostalgia for classic Japanese RPGs. But these moments don't tell the whole story. Poignant events lend distinction to the otherwise archetypal cast, and you grow to appreciate how tenets of the genre are ignored in favor of trying something new. The juxtaposition of I Am Setsuna's numerous inventions and references make for an eye-opening examination of Japanese RPGs, and a satisfactory debut from developer Tokyo RPG Factory. In a world blanketed with snow and overridden with beasts, young Setsuna sets out to reach the Last Lands. It is there that she will fulfill her duty as a human sacrifice, a ritual held every decade to keep wild threats at bay. With the help of like-minded adventurers, you accompany Setsuna through caverns and forests, fending off creatures and thwarting, or recruiting, humans that try to stand in your way. Setsuna would be the first person to admit that her fate is tragic, but she remains steadfast and resolute in her charge. You can say the same for her companions, some of whom face very different but equally somber realities with grace. Clocking in around 20 hours, moderately short by RPG standards, it's unfortunate that I Am Setsuna doesn't allow more time for backstory and character development. The majority of your adventure is spent in combat, which is almost identical to Chrono Trigger's battle system, and thankfully, every bit is enjoyable. There are no random encounters in I Am Setsuna. Battles begin when you bump into enemies visible in dungeons. There are no enemies on the world map. And there are two ways to approach combat: active mode or wait mode. Active mode allows ATB gauges to fill on a constant basis. When that gauge is full, that ally or enemy can make a move. If you choose to play in wait mode, all ATB gauges stop charging when you're picking an action from the command menu, affording you more time to plan your next move. Every character has an inherent strength, weapon type, and selection of skills known as techs. Techs are a product of things called Sprite Knight, magical stones that are slotted into equipment. Certain characters can combine techs in combat to dish out a devastating attack or a powered-up recovery spell, so long as they both have full ATB gauges. With a limited number of slots for Sprite Knight, you have to carefully pick and choose which techs to carry, not only to have a well-rounded team, but to ensure the availability of preferred combo attacks, which are strictly tied to specific techs. Every tech can be enhanced on the fly during combat when a character builds up enough SP to trigger momentum, which requires you to press a button immediately after a flash of light during the character's wind-up animation. You earn SP when you attack, when you take damage, and if you wait when it's your turn to move. Managing momentum opportunities is the most critical element during fights, as it can, in effect, turn one action into two. In typical RPG fashion, characters earn experience from combat and level up, but rather than impact every stat, new levels only boost a character's hit points and magic points. Instead, weapons dictate a character's physical and magical strength, as well as both types of defense. Therefore, purchasing weapons becomes a habit the moment you discover a new town. But you can't buy anything in I Am Setsuna until you sell materials, objects earned in battle and found on the ground when exploring dungeons, because currency isn't doled out after fights or found in treasure chests. The reliance on materials for currency and skills feels different from most other RPGs, and is perhaps the most resounding invention in a game designed to be almost wholly referential. By the end of I Am Setsuna, mobs of common enemies, albeit strong ones, can't stand up to a well-oiled party, and can be wiped out with a single combo move and a little added momentum. As such, it can feel like you're going through the motions at times when playing I Am Setsuna. This, paired with obvious references to well-known games, can make the experience feel rote, and at worst, boring. So I Am Setsuna is an unapologetic homage to beloved Japanese RPGs that plays well and takes few risks. Tokyo RPG Factory has accomplished their implied mission statement: to make Japanese RPGs the way many of us remember them back in the day. As someone who grew up playing these games, I enjoyed my time with I Am Setsuna. It was nice to look back and remember the good times.